Cape Canaveral, Florida, May 28, 2026. A rocket explodes on the launch pad, not during flight, not on the way up, on the ground, during a routine test that every rocket does before it's cleared to fly. 321 feet of metal, a decade of engineering, gone in 4 seconds. That fire is not the story. The fire was the moment the real story became impossible to ignore. To understand what burned, you have to understand what it was supposed to become. For more than 50 years, humanity pointed at the moon and said, one day, we're going back, not just to visit, to stay, to build a permanent human presence on another world. NASA calls that plan the Artemis Program, and Artemis needs rockets, not one launch, but dozens. Heavy lift access to space on a schedule that makes a permanent moon base possible rather than just imaginable. New Glenn was supposed to be one of those rockets. Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos' space company, had been developing it for over a decade. When it finally flew in January 2025, it reached orbit, the first Blue Origin rocket ever to do so. When it flew again in November 2025, the booster landed on a platform in the Atlantic, never done before. By early 2026, New Glenn was a credible competitor to SpaceX, and that mattered, not because anyone was rooting for Blue Origin specifically, but because the entire architecture of America's return to the moon depended on having 2 independent companies capable of getting there. NASA had selected Blue Origin's lunar lander, called Blue Moon, as one of the 2 vehicles that would carry astronauts to the lunar surface. SpaceX's Starship was the other. Think of it as insurance. 2 landers, 2 paths. If one failed, the mission could still happen. Blue Moon cannot fly without New Glenn. When New Glenn burned, it took Blue Moon with it. May 28th was not New Glenn's first serious failure. It was the latest. Go back to 2024. 2 upper stage sections were damaged at the factory before the rocket ever reached a launch pad. One collapsed during a routine move. A change in humidity was enough to buckle it. The rocket hadn't left the ground, and it was already breaking. January 2025, first flight. New Glenn reaches orbit, declared a success. But the booster explodes trying to land. An engine fails to reignite. Blue Origin spends the next 10 months figuring out why. November 2025, second flight. The booster lands. Everything works. The program exhales. April 2026, third flight. A commercial satellite on board. The upper stage malfunctions, not enough thrust. The satellite ends up stranded in the wrong orbit, effectively destroyed as a commercial asset. The FAA grounds the company. 9 corrective actions identified. Blue Origin is cleared to fly again. The 4th flight, 48 Amazon Internet satellites, was scheduled for June 4th. On May 28th, they ran the standard pre-launch test. A cryogenic leak, liquid oxygen so cold it froze a hydraulic line. The line failed. The engines failed. The rocket failed. 4 attempts, 3 with serious failures. That is not a streak of bad luck. That is a program that has never demonstrated it can work reliably under pressure. And it was about to face more pressure than it had ever seen. New Glenn is Blue Origin's only orbital rocket. There is no backup, no second vehicle, no contingency, and it has only one launch pad, Launch Complex 36, on the Florida coast. Blue Origin leased the site in 2015, spent $1 billion rebuilding it from scratch. One pad. After the explosion, engineers assessed the damage and used a phrase that doesn't require translation. Practically destroyed. The estimate, at least 6 months before the pad could operate again, possibly much longer. For comparison, in September 2016, a SpaceX Falcon 9 exploded on its launchpad during a fueling test. Severe damage. That facility was out of service for over a year. SpaceX survived it because they had multiple pads. They moved operations. They kept flying. Blue Origin has one pad. That is not a response failure. It is a structural choice made over a decade to build a program with no ability to absorb a catastrophic loss and keep going. On May 28th, the catastrophic loss arrived. The first domino, a prototype lander, call it the proof of concept mission, was targeted for fall 2026. Its job was simple: prove the design could survive a moon landing before anyone got on board. That mission required New Glenn. New Glenn is grounded. That mission slips. The second domino, the crude version of the lander cannot fly until the prototype proves the design works. First one slips, second one slips. The third domino, NASA's practice mission, where astronauts rehearse crewed operations around the moon in preparation for an actual landing, requires a working lander. It was targeted for late 2027. Blue Moon won't be there. If NASA's backup option, SpaceX's Starship, is also not ready, and as of May 2026, it had never flown in its lander configuration, and its most recent test was only partially successful. NASA may need to push the mission to 2028, which pushes the first actual crewed moon landing to 2030 or later. And the permanent moon base, the whole point of this decade of work, recedes further with every slip. There is another consequence that has nothing to do with the moon. Amazon, the company Jeff Bezos built before Blue Origin, had been counting on New Glenn to deploy half of its 3,200 satellite internet constellation before a July 2026 regulatory deadline. Without it, Amazon must turn to SpaceX, its direct commercial competitor, to carry its own satellites into orbit. The founder of Amazon now must ask his competitor to launch his internet business. In 2025, SpaceX launched 165 rockets, more than the rest of the world combined. SpaceX doesn't threaten to dominate commercial spaceflight. It already does, by a margin that no other company is close to closing. NASA understood this, which is exactly why they chose two companies for the lunar lander program. Not out of sentiment, but out of strategy. Depending on one commercial provider for access to the moon was seen by the people who designed the program as a single point of failure, so they built in redundancy. One of those redundancies is now gone. For at least a year, possibly two, there is one company with a rocket capable of carrying NASA to the moon. Few days after the explosion, SpaceX goes public. The largest IPO in history by most estimates, $75 billion sought, valuation $1.75 trillion. A private company, one that now holds, by default, a monopoly on NASA's path to the moon, valued at more than the entire economy of most nations on Earth. This is not a conspiracy. The explosion was caused by a cryogenic leak. Engineering failure. The timing is coincidence, but the consequence is real regardless of the cause. Some people will say that's fine. The best company won, and the market will produce alternatives. Others will say this is precisely what space policy was designed to prevent. A single corporation controlling humanity's access to deep space. Both arguments have weight. Neither changes what is true on June 2026. On the night of the explosion, Jeff Bezos posted 4 sentences. Everyone is safe. We don't know the cause yet, but we're already working to find it. Very rough day. We'll rebuild whatever needs rebuilding and get back to flying. It's worth it. Elon Musk replied with 3 words. Rockets are hard. And then, perhaps because 3 words weren't enough, or perhaps because he's constitutionally incapable of leaving a moment alone, he added a Latin phrase, ad astra per aspera, through hardship to the stars. One man whose rocket just exploded, one man whose rocket is now the only one that can carry humans to the moon, exchanging words across a burning launchpad. Think about what Bezos was actually saying. Blue Origin was founded in the year 2000. 26 years ago, Bezos has been funding it personally, selling Amazon shares, roughly $1 billion a year, to keep it alive through every delay, every setback, every failure. 26 years, $1 billion a year, one rocket, one launch pad, one night. When he said, it's worth it, he wasn't talking to shareholders. He was talking to the 26 years. He was saying, I still believe this. The harder question is whether believing it is enough. Rockets explode. Every serious program in history has catastrophic failures. SpaceX blew up Starship. SpaceX destroyed a launch pad. They came back. Failure by itself is not the story. The real problem is the assumption the failure exposed. The entire architecture of America's return to the moon was built on a single belief: that competition was a form of protection, that having 2 companies, 2 rockets, 2 paths meant that no single disaster could stop everything. That belief is gone now. What's left is 1 company, 1 rocket, 1 lander that has never flown in its operational configuration, and a moon timeline that was already optimistic before any of this happened. None of this means the moon base won't happen. SpaceX has recovered from worse. Blue Origin will investigate, rebuild, and fly again. Bezos said it himself, and there's no reason to doubt him. And in a decade, when historians look back at this period in commercial spaceflight, at Bezos's 26 years, at Musk's 100 launches, at the moment one company inherited a monopoly it never asked for, they will almost certainly say, this was when the mission got harder. Not impossible, just more fragile than anyone wanted to admit. The fire was 4 seconds. The real problem took a decade to build. Thank you for watching. For more deeply researched documentaries on space, science, and the future of human civilization, consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next story.